Hey, I'm Matt Manny. Thanks so much for joining me for today's devotional thought. Today we're learning about the Great Escape. In the dead of night, a soft thudding sound, barely audible, came from below the crystal crust of snow on the ground. It was March 24th, 1944. One of the most daring escapes from a Nazi prison camp was underway in Poland, 100 miles southeast of Berlin. 1 year before, the plan was developed, and the Allied soldiers of Germany's notorious Stalag Luft III looked to escape the prisoner of war camp and never look back. The plan was to set 200 POWs free, but over 600 soldiers were involved with the clandestine project. The soldiers faced a difficult proposition, and it was this. The goal was getting past the prison walls undetected. The soldiers had to overcome 3 obstacles to tunnel out of the prison compound. First problem was to get through the loose sandy soil. Then the second challenge was to dig a tunnel deep enough to compensate for the elevated prisoners' quarters purposely raised above the ground level to deter any attempt to tunnel the escaped. Love that plane flying overhead. The third challenge was a series of seismograph microphones systematically placed around the outside of the camp to listen for any disturbance underground, trying to detect any soldiers who were escaping by tunneling. The 3 tunnels were dug, and they nicknamed them Tom, Dick, and Harry, to ensure that at least one would provide the escape route. So the tunnel named Tom was dug from a chimney stove in a prisoner hut, but quickly was discovered by prison guards and was caved in by dynamite. A shower room in another prisoner hut was used for the tunnel that they deemed Dick, but the excavation stopped when a spot in the tunnel found out it would pop up too close to the camp expansion where they were building more huts. The tunnel was converted to a storage area for supplies and a dump site for excess soil that was being pulled from the final and third tunnel, Harry. The ingenuity of the soldiers kept them working as they used 4,000 wooden bunk planks from prisoner beds, 52 20-person tables, 34 chairs, 63 benches, spoons, forks, knives, and milk powder cans went missing, along with 1,000 feet of electrical wire to provide lighting for the underground 2-foot wide tunnel. That's a massive ingenuity by those soldiers. They found themselves that they were divided into 3 different groups. Some were given civilian clothes, others were given German uniforms and fake passports, working papers as well to help them escape. The escape, though, hit a hiccup when the first man tried to enter the tunnel at 8:45 and tried to open the hatch, but discovered it was frozen shut. After 90 precious minutes were lost trying to pop the hatch open, the soldier discovered that the tunnel was only a few yards from a lookout tower. The original plan was to have a man go through the 336-foot-long tunnel every 1 to 2 minutes. Instead, it took a man 10 minutes to navigate the tunnel. After a slight cave-in and other difficulties, only 5 to 6 men were getting through the tunnel each hour. The 76th man popped up his head out of the tunnel just before dawn as he escaped being spotted by a Nazi soldier in the lookout tower. As you can imagine, the Nazis figured out what was going on, and they went ahead after all the escapees as soon as they figured out that the plan was being hatched. Of the 76 who escaped, 73 were captured. One guy who made it out by the name of Jack Lyon was a British airman who survived, and he said it did a lot for morale, particularly for those prisoners who'd been there for a long time. They felt like they were able to contribute something even if they weren't able to get out. They felt they could help in some way, and trust me, in prison camps, morale is very, very important. When we face a season of life of difficulty, temptation, or testing, we feel paralyzed with what to do for our next step. And Satan, he doesn't play fair at all. He puts on the pressure. The world around us may feel like it's closing in, but God is making a tunnel of escape for us to get through. God's tunnels don't collapse, and they don't freeze shut. His way of escape is yours for the taking if you trust Him. This is the promise of deliverance. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says that there's no trouble or testing or temptation that is set before us that is unique to us, that's common and happens to human beings all the time. But with that temptation, God will make a way of escape so that we can get through what we're going through. Our encouragement for today is this, that God will make a way of escape when we need it. The thought is taken from 1 Corinthians 10:13 for further study. Thanks so much for joining me.